Australia is a land of extremes, vast deserts, giant spiders, and yes, fences that stretch farther than some countries. When Australians build a fence, they don't just mark a backyard, they draw lines across the continent. The rabbit-proof fence and the dingo fence are legendary, thousands of kilometers of wire, built to keep out rabbits and dingoes. To outsiders it sounded absurd. They're fencing out rabbits? It was the punchline to a joke about Australia's wild side. But for those living on the land, these fences were no joke, they were a desperate response to real threats. Imagine building a fence under a relentless sun, across endless plains, just to protect your livelihood. The world laughed, but for Australian farmers, this was survival. The fences weren't just barriers, they were a last stand against destruction. In a land where nature never plays fair, the fences became a symbol of human grit and audacity. Australia's fences, not just wire and posts, but a line drawn between hope and ruin. The story starts with a mistake, importing rabbits for sport in 1859. With no predators and mild winters, rabbits multiplied into hundreds of millions, devouring crops and stripping the land bare. Farmers tried poisons and traps, but nothing worked. The rabbit-proof fence was born out of desperation, a wire wall to stop the furry invasion. Meanwhile, dingoes, Australia's native wild dogs, became the sheep industry's nightmare. A single dingo could kill dozens of sheep in a night, threatening the backbone of rural Australia. Farmers fought back with traps and bounties, but the land was too vast, the dingoes too clever. The answer? Another fence. This time, even longer. The dingo fence would carve off a dingo-free zone for sheep. Both fences were radical, brute-force solutions to overwhelming problems. They weren't just about animals, they were about saving an industry, a way of life. In the end, the fences were built not out of arrogance, but out of necessity. Australia's wire lines were a gamble against nature's chaos, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. Not everyone believed in the fences. Across Australia, the idea sparked heated debates and divided opinions. In city boardrooms and rural pubs alike, people questioned whether such a massive project could ever work. For farmers, the fences were more than just wire and posts, they were a lifeline. Generations of families had watched their flocks decimated by predators. Now, there was hope, a chance to protect their sheep, their crops, and their way of life. Critics, especially in the cities, saw the fences as a colossal waste of money and effort. Headlines screamed about government overspending, and urbanites doubted the fences would ever make a difference. Could a wire fence really stop rabbits or dingoes? Many doubted it, recalling past attempts that had failed. The challenge seemed insurmountable. Scientists warned of ecological risks. What would happen if you removed a top predator from the ecosystem? Would new problems emerge, or would balance be restored? Despite fierce debate, the fences went up. Patrolled by lonely boundary riders and maintained through storms and heat, the fences stretched for thousands of kilometers across the outback. Whether genius or folly, the fences became a testament to determination, resilience, and the Australian spirit. Australia was willing to try the impossible just to survive, and in doing so wrote a new chapter in its history. A decade after construction, the fences changed everything. What started as a bold solution to a pressing problem soon revealed a cascade of unexpected consequences, rippling across the vast Australian outback. Inside the dingo fence, sheep thrived and attacks plummeted. Farmers finally had peace. Generations of livestock could now graze without fear, and rural communities flourished as their livelihoods stabilized. The rabbit-proof fence slowed the rabbit plague, buying time for Western farmers. Crops were saved, and the relentless march of rabbits was finally checked, at least for a while. But success came with a twist. Without dingoes, kangaroo and emu populations exploded, competing with sheep for food. The balance of nature had shifted and new challenges emerged. Overgrazing by these new pests damaged the land, trading one problem for another. The soil eroded, native plants vanished, and the landscape began to suffer in ways no one had predicted. On the dingo side, nature stayed in balance. Dingoes kept kangaroos and emus in check, and the land stayed healthier. Predators played their ancient role, maintaining a delicate equilibrium. The fences split Australia in two, one side a sanctuary for sheep, the other a wild, balanced ecosystem. The contrast was stark, visible from the sky and on the ground. The lesson was clear: removing one piece of nature's puzzle can shake the whole system. Every creature, every plant, every predator and prey is part of a larger story. The fences worked, but not as anyone expected. The results were complex, sometimes troubling, and always surprising. They revealed the hidden connections that hold the land together, showing just how fragile and intricate Australia's ecosystems truly are. Australia's great experiment had only just begun. The story of the fences is a lesson in humility, a reminder that in nature every action has a reaction, and sometimes the truth hits harder than anyone could have imagined. Sheep farmers inside the fence were the big winners. Their industry boomed, rural towns thrived. But the losers were many dingoes, cut off from their ranges, faced extinction in some areas. The land itself suffered. Kangaroo overpopulation led to erosion and loss of native plants and animals. The fence became a dividing line, not just for animals, but for entire ecosystems. Scientists soon realized the dingo side was healthier: more grass, richer soil, greater biodiversity. The fences meant to protect also taught dingoes weren't just pests but keystone species. Even the wildest stories, like camels stuck in the wire, showed nature's stubborn resistance. The fences changed Australia for better and worse. They solved one crisis but sparked new ones. In the end, the land itself was the ultimate judge. Australia's fences proved there are no simple fixes in nature. They protected sheep but created new problems: overgrazing, lost predators, and fragile ecosystems. The fences forced a rethink. Maybe dingoes were vital, not villains. Today, some farmers use guardian dogs instead of poison, seeking balance instead of battle. The fences are a lesson in humility. Nature always pushes back. Despite endless repairs, animals and floods breach the wire, reminding us we can't control everything. The fences stand as monuments to human ingenuity, desperation, and the limits of control. They started as a joke, became a lifeline, and ended as a giant science experiment. In Australia, even a simple fence tells a story of survival, surprise, and the wild heart of the land.